Hello and welcome to 101 Code. My name is Muaz Nashawi. If you like our videos, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you can see all the new videos. In this video, we're gonna talk about access modifier in Java. First, we're gonna see the access modifier definition, and we're gonna describe the different types of access modifiers, and we're gonna see the usage and some of best practice tips. Before we start, one thing to mention that the access modifier rules is shared among all object-oriented programming languages. So if you learn access modifier in Java, for example, you can apply these rules to any to any object-oriented programming language out there. So without any further ado, let's get started. So what is the access modifier? The access modifier in Java specifies the accessibility or scope of a field, method, constructor, or class. We can change the access level of fields, constructor, methods, and classes by applying the access modifiers on it. In general speaking, access modifier is controlling the access level of each property or each method inside your project. You can set some private attribute, which is you can just access from the same class, or you can give it public to be accessed everywhere. There's four types of access modifier. There's the private access modifier, and there's the default access modifier, and there's the protected access modifier, and there's the public access modifier. In order to be able to describe and understand the different types of access modifiers, we're gonna use a UML diagram and we're gonna use a live code example. So let's first take a look and understand the UML diagram. We're gonna have a project. This project will have two packages, package 1 and package 2. Inside package 1 there will be two main classes and one subclass which is inherited from the class. In package 2, there will be three classes. Two of them are acting as main classes, and one is inherited from the package 1 class. We did this structure type in order to be able to perform all the four access modifiers on this project. So this is the diagram. To understand what's going to happen inside, we will define in the class 1a, we will define only one variable, which is this is TV. It's called this is TV. We're going to change the access modifier of this is TV, and we're going to see how this will affect the accessibility of this variable through the different packages and different classes. So, for example, in a private here, for speed example, this is TV is only accessible from the same class. So if the class can read the variable, you will see a green method here, I can see TV. If it's not accessible, you will see on the other classes a red method, which is I cannot see TV. And we will use this logic to describe the four different types. The Java project that we're gonna use is a reflection of this diagram. So let's see it in fast action. We have this Java project with two packages, package 1 and package 2. Each package has different classes as the diagram over there. So let's start to apply the first access modifier, which is the private access modifier. So what is the private access modifier? The private access modifier is the access level of a private is only within the class. It cannot be accessed from outside the class. So once you give any attribute a private access modifier, it's only gonna be visible inside the same class, not in the subclasses or not in other classes in the same package, or not in other classes from other package. So to see this here in the diagram, if we set this is TV to private, you will only be able to see it, I can see it, only be able to see it from the same class. You're not going to be able to see it from other classes here, not also from the extended or from any other package. To see this in real life example, let's open our Java project. In the class 1a here, I defined a variable called this is TV. Let's give it now the first access modifier, which is private. Now, as you can see, where I give it a private, I have the method here, check if I can see TV. In the same class, as you can see, I can see the TV, it's working. Let's see a subclass. This is subclass 1a, extend the class of class 1a. As you can see, I can't see I can't see and access the attribute, which is the variable, which is this is TV. If I want to see the error message, let's tap on it. You can see that this is TV has a private access and package 1 class. And let's now see another package inside another class inside the same package. We still inside the package 1. And here I have a method like check if I can see TV. I instantiated a new instance of class 1a. I'm trying here to access the attribute, which is this is TV, and I'm also unable to access it. And if you stop on it and you want to see the error, as you can see, this is TV has a private access and in the package class 1. Let's get to the other package. Now we are in package 2, and it's also the same. If you want to access it, you're not going to be able to access it because it's a private. And you can apply this to all other classes in package 2. So this is the private limitation of the access modifier private. The second access modifier is the default access modifier. The access level of a default modifier is only within the package. It's visible only within the package itself. It cannot be accessed from outside the package. If you don't specify any access level, it will be the default. So first here, let's go first back to our class 1a. Here we set private, but here if we didn't set any access modifier, the default will be used as a default in the same name. So get back to our diagram. What is the difference between the default and private? As we say, private is only accessible in the same class. In the case of default, you can access the property inside the same class. You can access it inside another class in the same package, and you can access it from a subclass which is inherited from the main class. That's all inside the same package. And if we use another package, if we went to another package, you're not going to be able to see it. As you can see, in all classes in the other package, it's not accessible or visible. So I cannot see the TV here. I cannot see the TV. It's just like inaccessible in the other package. Let's see this in real code. As we said, the attribute here is we didn't define an access modifier, so it will be used as default. The default will be used here. The first method here inside the same class, you can see I'm able to see this variable inside the same class. And I'm also able to see this variable inside a subclass which is inherited from the main class. This is a class in the same package, and I'm also able to see it after I instantiate here. If we went to another package, which is package 2, now I'm having a problem because I'm now in other package and it's not accessible from any other package than the main package that it defined in. So in the class 2a, it's not accessible. In subclasses in the package 2 also, they are not accessible. Any other classes. So as the diagram said here, it's only accessible, as you can see all green here, inside the same package. Let's get now to the third access modifier, which is protected. The access level of a protected modifier is within the package and outside the package through child classes or subclasses. If you don't make the child class, it cannot be accessed from outside the package. This one, the protected, is the most complicated to understand between the four types of access modifier, but we'll try to explain it with the example. So let's get to the diagram first. As you can see, in the protected, if I give the variable this is TV, a protected access modifier, I can see it in the same class and I can see it from the subclass, and I can see it also from another class inside the same package. And here the exception, if we went to another package, which is package 2, if there is a class which is inherited from the class 1a, it will be accessible. But any other classes that doesn't have any inheritance relationship with the class 1a will not be able to see the variable or access the variable. So it's accessible inside the same package, always accessible inside the same package as a protected. And another packages only accessible through inheritance. Keep that in mind, as protected only through inheritance if you try to use it in another package. So let's see this in the code. Now, if I get to the variable and I set a protected access variable, as you can see, I can see it in the same class, and I can see it in a subclass in the same package, and I can see it also in another class in the same package which is package 1. Now, if I change the package and I went to package 2, now I'm having problem to see it. As you can see here, it's not accessible in another package. Is also not accessible even if another package inside another class inside another package is extend another class from the package 2. It's also not accessible. The only way you can access this attribute from another package is that class should extend the class 1a, which is the attribute is defined. In this case, as you can see here, I'm in the package 2, so I'm in different package, but I'm able to see the attribute here. So getting back to the diagram, as we said, in a protected, you can see it inside the same class, inside the same package, inside the subclass, and if you change the package, you only can see it through inheritance. Now, the fourth and last access modifier, which is the public access modifier, the broad public access modifier. The access level of public, is as it says, is everywhere. It can be accessed from within the class, outside the class, within the package, and outside the package. So, in simple speaking, when you use public access modifier, you can access this attribute anywhere and everywhere inside your code. So let's see this inside from the diagram. As you can see, when we have a public here, if we set the variable to public, you can see it everywhere inside the same package and from other package inside subclasses. You will be able to see it everywhere. So let's see this in the code. Now, if I went to class 1a and change my access modifier to public, I can see it in the same class, and I can see it in a subclass. I can see it in another class in the same package, and I can see it in the other packages and other classes and other packages. So, generally speaking, everywhere. So that is the public access modifier, which is easy to understand. It's public. Now, let's discuss the best practice and tips to use access modifiers. There is no guidebook for using access modifiers, and there's no strict rules for it. But if you want to, for example, follow the object-oriented programming rules on this one, if you want to apply all the aspects of object-oriented like encapsulation and abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance, there you can find some general guidelines. The first general guidelines I can tell you about is, as I said, it's more of a guideline than a rule, but you should always make properties and method as inaccessible as you can. It's much easier to change your mind later and provide expanded access than it's to go the other direction. So in general speaking, you always try to give your properties a private access. If the private doesn't enough to serve the purpose, try with the protected. If not, try with default. But keep a public access modifier is your last choice, because when you use a public access modifier, you expose your code to others to be edited. For example, if you're working on a project with other developers and you're using a design pattern, like for example a facade design pattern, which you just give the output, it's not wise to use a public access and identifier for inline attributes. So always consider private first, always consider to make your properties inaccessible, and you just give an access as much as it need. Don't give a public. It's always not a good idea to give a public. So that's it for the video today. I hope I described the access modifiers in a good way. In next video, we will speak more about Java. Until then, if you like our videos, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you can see all the new videos.